This is the actual trial run of the OZITO router table with my old router attached. As you can see, I have a cove bit inserted. It took a little bit of work to get that put in and to adjust the fence. It's not the exact bit I need, but it's going to do the job for now. And I did a trial run, so I've got a profile. I'm going to have to run it through upside down one way and then upside down the next way. So I'll be running it through one way, turning the timber over, running it the other way. Hopefully I'll get the bull nose, and then to get that little kick that we're looking for, I might have to fit a different bit, and we're just going to experiment as we go and see how we go. One thing I've realised is that the router makes a lot of noise, maybe because it's old, so you definitely need hearing protection unless your router is very quiet. So let's run one piece of timber through and see what happens. I'll go through the setup of the router bit later on in the video. Okay, so running the timber through one way and then turning it upside down, you get close to a bullnose. A little ridge I think I'm just going to sand, considering I'm only making about 2 meters of this stuff. I'm not going to bother trying to keep adjusting it. As far as the size, it's not bad. Just run it through one more time to reduce the size down. And one thing you've got to remember is which side you run through. This is the sawn side, which should have been the side that should have gone through. This other side would have been already planed. Run it through two more times, and let's carry on with the next piece. We'll try to machine the little step on the bead. We'll use this to machine the step. We'll use this bit here, just set it the right depth. Now, the ideal way to change the router bit from behind the router table. So let's have a look how it's done. You release the lock. These screws, yeah, ideally you want to cut them. Hold the lock pin in. Power is disconnected. Take the bit. Bit in. Now how do you lift the router table? The system I've come up with what am I talking about? How do you lift the router? Well, the system I've come up with is this piece of wood which you use as a leverage. Lift to the correct height. Get your hand in under there. And lock it in. So let's get on to the next part. Machining the little nib or kick, whatever you want to describe it as. On the front of the timber ball nose. Probably this is so awkward. It's a good reason not to buy one. Or spend $600 on a proper router lift. Or just spend the money and buy a proper router table. we need now the painter to come along and fill that up with paint. That'll be a total waste of time doing what I did. Alright, now let's just do the last piece of the exercise. Just going to machine a couple of mil off the back edge to make the beadings the same size. Lift the rod a bit all the way up. Now I'll show you what I mean by those ribs. What the hell? Catching all the larger pieces. So I would suggest these ribs get cut off. Okay, I'll go through that later. So that's the purpose of this piece. When you machining pieces, sticks that comes out take up the difference that you've machined off. A couple of points about using your OZITO. You change the bits from the back if you don't want to move the control box. Cut these screws, and you might want to arrange your router so that all the controls of the router are on this side. The other one other thing you might want to do is remove these ribs because they tend to trap any large particles of timber which come off the machining operation. As you can see, the exhaust port or vacuum is completely blocked from the large chips which were manufactured during this last machining project. So you can make the OZITO router table work with a router. It's not easy. It's most probably limited to just doing simple operations or the same operation repeated a lot of times without changing setups. You don't want to be changing setups too often, as you'll get pretty frustrated. And it doesn't hurt to have the right drill bit, what am I talking about? Router bit. One last point. Now the reason for having the correct size router, not one that's too small, is if you don't, you're going to end up burning out your switch and your capacitor which runs the router, as I did on one occasion with this router. So, hope you found it interesting.